Sheesh. Yeah, big time. No man, no. Diamonds in my teeth. I got a lot of shine.
Whoa. What's going on, everyone?
Whoa.
I don't know what that was, but it is NFL Week 7. This is a showdown breakdown. We got Thursday night football action. The Saints, the Broncos, game of the year coming up. And I got Bobbywow, a.k.a. Bobby Millions, to break it all down. My name's Kevin, aka the Geek from DFS Army, and this is the showdown breakdown. Where my turd's at. Ash, the turd hat, that's for Friday. That's for Friday.
It's coming. It's coming.
Yes.
Again.
Game of the year, Bobbywow.
Yeah. I first got to say, when you say on the podcast, I think it's more of the Friday one as well, but you say you have gummy thoughts. That video we saw just now, that's what I picture is going on in your head as you're having these thoughts.
That is the music that plays during gummy. It's actually, you know what actually plays during gummy thoughts? It's like Pink Floyd songs.
Okay,
it's like fair. Comfortably Numb is just on loop. Yeah, big game in terms of like weirdness. I don't know how else to put it.
It's the weirdest game that I've ever written up at DFS Army, for sure. And there's not a question about it. There's so many different things at play here. Injuries, rookies, players that are returning from injury. It's just a crazy plethora of funness.
I mean, first of all, the Rattlesnake had a pretty good game, I thought, for his debut for the Saints. Like, he was fine.
Looked okay. I mean, their team took a beating, so it's really hard to gauge. But yeah.
But all the wide receivers on the Saints are out. The Broncos are the Broncos. They got their weirdness going on. So this should be an interesting one anyway. And the Broncos don't really have like a name brand running back that we can rely on. So
and it got even weirder this last week, where Sean Payton's starting to say some crazy things.
What is Sean Payton saying?
He's basically saying we need to work in the rookies more, and specifically, we need to get now I'm blanking on his name. Estime. How do you say his last name? Estime. Yeah, Estime. He's saying we need to get Estime more involved. And look, like I put in the notes, Javonte Williams is like Kyle Pitts for me at this point, where he's that player that maybe we just have to admit he's not good, and it's just not going to happen. So it's hard for me to play him. And now that we've got this Estime talk going on, not a very clear situation to say.
Tack on a talented run defense for the Saints.
Yep,
it's not helping. Let's take a look at the matchup sheet. I don't know even how irrelevant some of this stuff is because a lot of these players are going to be out. But on the Broncos side, most of their guys are here. So we'll start there. Right? So you've got Bo Nix as QB. Bo Nix has he started to show. You know what? He's starting to show. This rookie class is looking pretty freaking good, Bobbywow.
I agree. The last 2 weeks in particular, Bo Nix has dialed things in. He looks more composed. He's not making mistakes. He's using his legs as well as his arm. So Bo Nix he's been very, very solid.
He's been fine. Javonte Williams, the aforementioned running back situation, 67% of the touches or of the snaps. Then you had Jaleel Mack, 25%, and Audric Estime, 3%. Bobbywow, I feel like the coach speak is just lying.
Yeah, see, with Sean Payton too, it's even harder to trust. But the thing with Estime last week is he was returning from an injury. So it was like a combination, I think, of easing him in, and also just the fact that the Broncos running backs only had 8 rushing attempts total anyway. So yeah, it's a very bizarre situation, but I do think there's some, realness to the Estime thing. If not, the biggest insight we can glean is I think Javonte will see potentially less of a workload than he is now, if anything, and that's not a good thing.
Yeah. I mean, regardless, though, I have to say I was impressed by the 20% target share for Javonte last week. Like, he's involved. He's still the guy. Yeah, and he's catching a couple passes. He's just terrible.
Fumbled again, too. So I think he's in the doghouse. He fumbled last week. They lost by a touchdown. It's just like the stock is down on Javonte Williams.
Sell now before it's too late. So Audric Estime, not a guy that anybody was really going to be rostering, but maybe, right? So Tight ends, really nothing going on for the Broncos. Remember when they had a guy named Dulcich?
Yeah, something must have happened between him and Peyton, the coach, because Dulcich is like a legitimate pass catcher, and he's got legitimate ability as a pass catching tight end, but he's been healthy scratch.
Yeah, they healthy scratch that motherfucker every week. So
he's gone essentially. And what we're seeing now is Lucas Kroll is healthy, and so he's taking over as the primary tight end over Adam Troutman. So revenge, you got to put the revenge narrative on hold a little bit with Troutman.
Were we gonna even have a revenge narrative with Troutman? Were we doing that? Were we doing that?
Just a joke.
Yeah.
But Lucas Kroll, I think, it's almost safe to assume at this point that he's the primary tight end that'll see most of the field.
Lucas Kroll. Scrolling down here, wide receivers is crazy. And listen, you got to be aware of who these wide receivers are. You mentioned little Jordan Humphrey, but let's just look at the snap counts. And it's if I can pronounce the name in a second, Devon Valley. But Cortland Sutton, 85%. He's out there all the time, right? He's the top guy. 20% of targets last week, 23% on the season. But Devon Valley, he got the bump in snaps last week, Bobbywow. He's not that young, by the way.
Both him and Troy Franklin got bumps in snaps. I think they're both rookies, if I'm not mistaken.
Devon might be like a 26-year-old rookie.
Yeah, he's an old rookie, but he's a rookie nonetheless.
He's like an old guy. Went back to college.
And again, this goes back to the Sean Payton thing where he's starting to ride some of these younger guys more. And when I was referencing Humphrey, I was referencing him and saying, he's more of a veteran type player that got his snaps decreased significantly last week.
Yeah.
At the cost of Franklin and Vele. So yeah, I think the youth movement is on in Denver, and that's not a good sign for Humphrey, who's not, wasn't doing anything special anyway.
And little Jordan's been around for a while. But yeah, Devon Vele seems to, the 18% target share, the fact that he got as many targets as Cortland Sutton, there's something going on there. He's percolating. Devon Vele.
Yeah. The craziest thing about him is he played in week 1, had 8 catches.
Yeah.
And then was healthy scratch since then.
No, he got hurt, I thought. I don't think he got hurt.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
I thought he was pretty much healthy that whole time, but maybe not. I'll have to go back and check.
Let's check that, because I thought that he got hurt and then just disappeared, but was a shocker the first week to begin with. And then he just got hurt, and then we didn't hear from him. Now he's better. But I don't know that answer. I'm not saying that for sure. I'm not even going to. I don't have definitive knowledge of that. So I thought he did get hurt, but I'm not sure. But yeah, Devon Vele, interesting piece. Now shifting gears over to the Saints. It's a madhouse over there, Bobbywow.
It's a madhouse. It is indeed a madhouse.
Yeah, the rattlesnake at QB, fine. Let's just. I need to see, what did he do last week? He had a good fantasy score, got you about
200 some yards. He got a touchdown, 2 picks. Ran for 25, 30 yards. It was fine. But again, it was basically a blowout the whole game.
Dude, I heard the announcers, by the way. I feel like these announcers half the time, oh, he's got some legs. And I was like, he's got some speed. The dude ran he ran a 4.940.
Oh my God.
His speed is Tom Brady-esque. Oh, he's got some speed out there. I'm like, have you looked it up? Is this what? Did you not pay attention? What speed does this guy have? But meanwhile, and he ran in his entire college career, the most yardage in a season was 150. And that is low for a college quarterback. Oh, there's a mobile quarterback in there. I'm like, what do you guys just make shit up as it's going along? I was just watching the game. I feel like he's just making it up.
Yeah, I don't know. He's not a prolific runner, but he ran for 27 yards.
He did run a little bit.
What it is.
1 touchdown, 2 interceptions, threw for 250 yards. It's a quality yardage output, I guess, even in a blowout loss.
Yeah, he threw it 40 times. Again, the volume was there, but I'm not overly impressed by any means.
No, 55% completion rate, 2 interceptions, not good. This is a situation, Bobbywow, where Denver defense. This game is going to be so ugly. We got to play defenses as captains. We got to get crazy. And here's part of the reason why.
Crazy. That's wild.
You got to get silly with it. Yeah, Kamara's good, right? We know Kamara's good. 75% snaps last week. Who's the backup running back?
It's Jamal Williams.
I mean, it's 75 and he only got 5%. Something's off about
yeah. No, that was Jordan Mims got some snaps too, but the other, one of the other confusing things about the Saints and all the chaos is that Kendre Miller's back this week in all likelihood. So
it looks like Jordan Mims got the snaps last week.
That'll be Kendre Miller this week. But again, Jamal, Kendre, both those guys are relatively insignificant. Kamara he's the offense. As long as he's on the field, he's the offense.
I'm assuming Kamara is the highest owned captain on this entire slate without looking.
We don't know that we have ownerships yet.
Yeah.
But you could easily make the argument that he should be 100% captain and MVP and just move on. He's far and away the highest projected player on the slate.
There are other names to consider. We will have other names. Spoiler alert, Bobby didn't just ruin this whole thing. We have other names.
We have other names, but wait till you see the salaries, okay?
I'm curious about it. I think we're not spending any money. Foster Moreau blew up my parlay last week.
Why? You had the under?
I had under 2 receptions. Under 1.5. You got 2.
Oh man, he caught 2, 50 yards.
I hit 5 other legs, and that was the stupid thing I threw in at the end.
It's always the dumb one. It's always the one you're like,
I'm so frustrated. I was like, oh, I think I won that parlay. Oh, plus 800. Nope.
It's because they had no one else to throw. I mean, Olave was out. He didn't go out till the end of the game.
Here's me for that parlay, Bobbywow. I'm like Mike Williams when the ball was perfectly thrown and I'm running wide open down the field. I'm about to win. Plus 800. It's an Aaron Rodgers floater. Look at it go down like a little feather. So soft. I fell.
Perfectly thrown is a little bit of.
Oh, come on. That was a perfectly thrown ball.
Rodgers underthrew that quite a bit.
The ball was heading for him that he fell.
He had to have faked the injury, right? There's no way he actually got hurt on that play, did he?
No. It's his ego. It was embarrassed. He was not hurt. Let me tell you something.
It's a bad throw.
It's embarrassing. Was it wet? Was the field wet? No. Was there a problem? Did you forget to put your cleats on, bro? How did you fall?
He had to put on the brakes. Rodgers, yeah, he fluffed one up there. A little bit of a duck.
He wouldn't have had to put on the brakes that hard if he was looking for the ball.
But if you're Mike Williams, you just have to catch the ball. You just have to find a way to stay on your feet.
Anyway. Yeah. All right, so let's try to figure out who the hell's playing for the Saints here. All right, it's going to be a mess at running back, but pretty much Kamara and then Kendre Miller backing him up.
Yeah, Kendre and Jamal. Yep.
Wide receiver is just inexplicable here. I don't even know if we have the right names. Rashid Shaheed looks like he will not play.
Olave is essentially all but ruled out. Rashid Shaheed hasn't practiced this week either.
He's not.
It's unlikely either of those guys play.
So the names that popped up from last week: Bub Means, Cedric Wilson Jr., and Mason Tipton.
Yeah.
Bub Means is the guy here.
Bub
20%
Means is
target
the
share.
guy.
Bub got all the targets. He's got a connection with the rattlesnake.
I mean, yeah, because there's no one else to connect with at this point. So yeah, Bub Means is the de facto guy.
What's Bub short for with this guy? It was like what?
It's
Robert?
Javon or something. Javon. I don't know. It's nothing to do with Bub.
Oh,
I
it has nothing to do with Bub?
I don't think so. I might be making that up though.
And then you had Mason Tipton, but Bub Means is clearly the guy, 71%. And that's it. They were on the practice. That's what happens. The backup quarterback comes in. The guy he's been practicing with is the guy he's comfortable throwing to. Plus, it's like brothers. You know what I mean? Brothers on the practice squad. That's what that means. Bros. Does no one do that?
You know what? I don't know.
I think I made it up. Don't feel like
done that.
Don't feel like
I've
I was
done that in a while.
Anybody else would recognize I just totally made that up. Bub Means, Mason Tipton, Cedric Wilson, with Means getting 20% of the targets last week. Obviously, Shaheed is gone. So, Mason Tipton, Cedric Wilson Jr. in those roles, free money. Yeah,
to me, I think there's some for sure like MME guys. Like Mason Tipton for me is more of an MME option. I'm not rostering him over Bub Means or Juwan Johnson. Obviously Kamara's first, and then, Means, Johnson, he'd be like a fourth option for me on the Saints. Rookie undrafted, I think out of Yale. Cedric Wilson, we've seen him do it before. You know, he's a capable veteran receiver, but he's also dealing with an injury.
He used to be on Dallas
Cowboys.
Yeah. We have a subscriber named Cedric Wilson.
That's right. I do remember that actually. Yes.
Speaking
so Cedric, he might not play, but he's certainly an option. He'll be on the field because no one else can be. But Bub Means, he's the guy. He's a 5th-round rookie. He's got some size, got some speed, caught a touchdown last week. And, you know, I actually think Jawan Johnson is probably the best play of all the pass catchers here, but Bub Means is a close second. He'll see more targets.
Yeah, I like Means. I like that 20% target share last week, the 71% snap count. It just seems like he's the clear-cut, like, gonna play the role of the leader of whatever crappy situation. Not to mention, by the way, this is up against the Broncos. They are without Surtain for this matchup, so it's not like WR1's going to get shut down, but it is still a very, very good Broncos defense where you don't want to be a 6th-round rookie rattlesnake going up against a defense like this. I love Broncos defense here. Let's be very, very clear about what I think is going to happen. I think it's going to just go bad for the Saints and get all kinds of weird. That's why I was thinking you don't have to play Kamara. It's just like, what if this whole game just gets out of hand, which could happen. With that being said, I want to mention a couple things. Number one, happy birthday to DFS Army subscriber Killa Cam, 34 years old.
Happy birthday.
One of my faves.
Killa Cam,
shout out. What's up?
Yeah, he's real, man.
Give him the double tap piece. Do it. Give it to him.
I haven't seen that since Sammy Sosa with the home run.
Yeah, there we go. It's like the Sammy Sosa thing. That's number one. Number two, I want to congratulate Miss Tosh on another win. She is just crushing it. She is my DFS hero at this point. Like, Miss Tosh, this one's for you as well, Sammy Sosa. But it's a reminder, like, we're still going on. MLB still going strong.
Man, Jay ran with the clutch and 9th inning bomb. Woo!
Bro, a Subway Series. It's going to happen.
Subway Series is inevitable.
I need this.
My guy Anthony Rizzo beating up on the Indians.
Yeah.
Good old times. And Subway Series, though, it's coming. That's going to be fun.
I need my beloved New York Mets to take out the hated crosstown rivals. If this can happen, this will make this such a special year.
That's who I'll be rooting for. Do you think they can do it? Is New York like an even split Mets Yankees? Like, no. How does that work? Is it all Yankee fans?
Everybody's a Yankees fan.
Okay.
Everybody. I'm like, and Giants too. You have Yankees, Giants, Jets, Mets. The Jets, Mets people are like the root for the scrappy underdog people. And the Yankees, Giants people are like the corporate, I like the great team, we hate the Yankees, Giants people around here. We want the scrappy upstarts, the Jets. For DFS sites, the Yankees, Giants people are on roto grinders.
Okay, stop.
The Mets, Jets people are here, DFS Army, scrapping away. Like Miss Tosh taking down.
The Mets fans need it. The Mets fans need it.
Yeah, we do need that. On that note, though, and as Miss Tosh showed you here, DFS Army is really different from other sites. Why? We are the scrappy upstart, right? It's really important to us. We don't have a bunch of what you see when you see us talking about our tools and our wins. We're regular people doing this, right? And we have regular people taking down tournaments because we build elite tools and because we put so much care into them, because we actually use these tools ourselves. And that's really the difference. DFS Army, a lot of those sites, they're, I get it. You get some hired guns. They're already winning tournaments all the time. You bring them in. Seems like an exciting name to follow. But the only people winning are those guys. Here at DFS Army, it's a different story. We put a lot of effort into not just building these tools, but teaching you guys how to use them. Everybody who's in DFS Army will tell you this. We do live streams where we're just setting up the optimizer. Hey, here are the different things you can do. Our optimizer is 10 times more customizable than the other ones out there. I've tried the other ones to see what they're about. You just push a button. It doesn't really, everybody has the same freaking lineups. I'm telling you, you can't even customize them. It's very difficult. That's not how the domination station works, the sim boost, all that stuff. So NBA around the corner, 4 sports happening simultaneous. You will never see this again. Promo code VIP50 this week. ahead of the start of NBA, we'll get you a month of DFS Army VIP for 50% off. That's $44.99, Bobbywow.
You're like what Ellen DeGeneres during the most wonderful time of the year.
Yes. Giving away, everybody gets a car on the Ellen show. We all get up and do a goofy dance together. We're going to do it.
We're going to do it.
Isn't that what Ellen DeGeneres is about? Like getting up and do a goofy dance? I've never seen that show. I have no idea.
All I remember is watching one time and seeing her giving out the craziest thing. My mom had it on or something, and she gave out like cars to literally everyone in the audience for Christmas. I'm like,
why she's sweating up Oprah giving away the cars though? You know who did it first?
What could make you more money though? Yeah, Oprah did it first. Oprah, you get a car, you get a car.
Yeah, that's Oprah.
But nothing could make you more money than a DFS Army subscription.
Well,
or lose you money.
Or lose you more money, really, if depends on how you use it. So there we go. All right, Bobbywow. Let's jump into this. By the way, just quick note is that we've got another 2-gamer on Monday coming up. So me and Bobby back on Monday, another primetime 2-game slate to break down. So make sure you're subscribed, notified, notification bells, and all that stuff.
Another morning in London this week as well. We'll have Showdown content for.
You know who's doing the sheet for that? I believe DFS Spreadsheets. And he's been doing amazing work with running simulations of the contest and letting us know what percentage of the time who and what is in what position. So I'm really excited to see his notes, which are going to have a lot of those metrics.
Yes, he's doing everything but writing the notes on the sheets at this point, and now he's finally just putting the notes on the sheet too. It's going to be so good.
Yes. All right, so with that being said, take me through the captain spot for you. Please tell me there's a defense in here. You didn't do it. I think we got to do it, Bobbywow. We got to add a defense in there. But Kamara, top captain play by far?
By far. Yeah, by far. Like it comes down to raw points. It's almost a little bit more like FanDuel on DraftKings this week because there will be plenty of salary on the table. So like, what are the odds that a defense outscores Alvin Kamara? Pretty dang low. Possible, possible that we see, Bob Means do it, depending on how lineup construction works out. But at the end of the day, Alvin Kamara is far and away, the highest projected total of any fantasy producer on the slate, and he's the guy that'll get the highest usage of anybody on the slate, and it's not close. So yeah, Kamara top option on both sides.
And again, I would say the Rattlesnake proved himself competent enough to feed Kamara.
Yeah, and I think, last week we saw Kamara in a blowout game that was not balanced. This week, Rattler's got, he's got a game under his belt, and they can finally employ more of a balanced game script, which favors Kamara to me as well. So I love him. Denver defense is solid, but I love Kamara. There's no reason not to, honestly, on this slate. He's top play, and there's no question about it.
It's highly unlikely this game gets away from either side, really.
Yeah.
Cortland Sutton next, coming off a big week, so I get that. I get that.
2 touchdowns in 3 weeks. He look good. He's
wide
been
receiver.
One of the few consistent pieces on, of all this slate here. He's involved.
Dude, these captain choices are disgusting. They're just gross. I think Bo Nix is very, very much playable, though.
He's right there. Yeah.
Very much playable, Bo Nix, because he gets it done with his legs as well. So, like, you could see Denver, like, kind of just I don't know, how would I put it? Sort of like hustling their way into just how they score. I don't know, a defensive score, and Nick somehow gets it done, but no individual wide receiver goes crazy. You can see that.
Absolutely. Yep.
After that, man, these are hard to get behind. It's hard to get behind Javonte, Jawan. I mean, Devon. Oh, Bubba Means. No.
Look at the drop off in salary, though. I mean, look at it.
Yeah, I mean, it's free, but I don't think salary is going to be relevant. I actually don't think salary is going to be relevant.
No, that's the problem.
Yeah, at all on this slate. Like, I'd love to save the money. I literally think you could plug in Kamara and still not have too much issue with filling out lineups.
The best argument you could make is you could plug Kamara in to 100% of your captain and MVP lineups and just move on. Like, that is very much a viable option. Probably the most sensible option if you're trying to cash money.
I think both Saints and Denver defenses are actually, this is the kind of game we did a lot of back testing, Bobbywow. And I made a mental note of these games, 36 point totals. And they had a pattern where a lot more defenses and kickers were just showing up in the winning lineups, not necessarily as captain per se, although could be, but just a lot of just kickers and defenses showing up in these ugly games. And so, you know, I got to mention it. Like, I could see a scenario where a defense scores 18 and is the highest scoring position on the entire game. You know, one sack and a defensive touchdown, you're at 17, 18 points, and you're the highest scorer on the entire. You passed Kamara. Kamara didn't score, he got a 14. And like the defense outscores him. It could happen.
Yeah, it's I mean, honestly, Kevin, like we could have listed 15 captains here at the end of the day.
Marvelous knows what happens when you go all in on Kamara.
That's the reality. We could have legitimately listed 14 or 15 captains here because it could be a 15-point captain that leads the whole slate in scoring.
Even a kicker.
We couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. So, yeah.
A kicker could get there, Bobbywow.
Sure. Yeah, of course. I mean, Juwan Johnson could easily get there, I feel like. So it's, you know, there's several guys. Bob Means in a low scoring game, his last week performance might get there. Like, it's just crazy. It's a weird game.
Bubba Means 4K. So who's the cheapest viable? I mean, Troy Franklin is there.
This is a flex. These are the flex options.
Mason Tipton at 1,600.
I'm not going there. Not a captain. Cheapest viable play?
Yeah.
Flex? It's Estime.
Flex. Estime. Yeah, or Estime all the way down at 400. They're saying they're going to use him.
There's two guys. There's two guys that I'm willing to pay down for here and take a risk, even though salary doesn't matter that much.
Kroll,
one is Estime, and Kroll is the other one. Yep. Otherwise, I'm not touching anybody. Like, I don't even know. It's hard for me to get below Franklin outside of Kroll and Estime.
I mean, sure. Mason Tipton, he's also, that's real. That's a guy.
Yeah, Mason, he could get it done.
Yeah,
you know, he's
that guy's in the game. How do you pick between these guys?
Yeah.
Troy Franklin?
You have to pick some guys. You just have to. You can't play 5% of everyone down here because everyone's going to play 5% of everyone down here. So to me, if you want to take down a tournament, you do have to get a little bit selective, at least in this range. And I'm just choosing to take a higher stand on Estime and Kroll than I am on guys like Tipton, Humphrey, Troutman, those players. So that's just the way I see the slate. But again, anyone could score 8 points down here. Anybody. Maybe not 8.
You know, we didn't mention Jaleel McLaughlin, and obviously you've talked about Estime and Peyton talking about Estime and everything. But the guy who's gotten it done has been Jaleel McLaughlin this year. I think he has a touchdown from last week. So he can't be ignored either.
I put it directly in the nose. I said, you know, as much as we've talked about Estime, we can't forget about McLaughlin because he, especially on DraftKings, he's got that pass catching upside where he could just show up without scoring a touchdown. You know, he's a little bit more salary prohibitive relative to everybody else. That's the thing with him. He's not like super cheap by any means, but in a lineup where salary doesn't matter, he could get there with PPR alone. Absolutely.
Slay is gross. I'm loath to be interested in even watching this game. If I'm, you know, I will always watch an island game because it's the rare chance you get to watch a game start to finish, one team the whole, you know, and focus on it. But man, this is challenging that.
Yeah, it's tough for me to promote anything outside of like at least 20 lineups. Like this feels like an MME slate. I don't know how you could get crazy elsewhere. Like don't play high dollar cash, high dollar single entry to me is crazy on a slate like this. This is your quarter MME slate here.
The funny thing about Cortland Sutton is even he, you know, he's not been that great. Like, all right, 11K. He's so expensive. Olave's out. Shaheed is out. Carr is out. So you got Nix in the rattlesnake. So if you start with Kamara, we got Nix and the rattlesnake in there, or not.
I think Knicks. I probably put Knicks in there. I prefer Knicks over the Rattlesnake, but either are viable.
They're both pretty locked into a 10-point floor.
Yeah.
Actually, no. I mean, actually, the Rattlers up against Denver. Denver's tough defense, man. That is a big ask.
Bo Nix, it was my preference of the
Yeah.
two, but I don't think it'll matter, honestly. Like, because who's next? I think Juwan Johnson to me is one of the safer guys on the slate in terms of a floor. It's crazy.
I don't love Juwan as much as you do.
Here's why. Juwan played 80% of the snaps last week, and now Rashid Shaheed is out. So we're going to get a ton of him. He's going to be on the field a ton. And honestly, that's where you can make an argument for Troutman as well. I'm sorry, not Troutman. For the backup, who I'm forgetting now.
Yeah, no, I know who you mentioned him before. $1,000 Crawl.
Foster.
Oh, Foster. Oh, ugh. Yes.
But yeah, like both those guys are going to be on the field a bunch. Foster will be on the field more. A lot of 2 tight end sets, I think. So I do think those guys are very viable.
Gross. Let's just slide our way down the list here, though, to kind of show how I think kickers, defenses, that's where you want to be.
Kickers are they're 4 stars. Both kickers are all format 4-star plays on both sheets.
Not Smythe. Groupie
and Lutz.
You could do this. Actually, I don't, if you started out, all right, if I want to do a little block of build, how about this, Bobbywow, just for a little approach? Because I really like what I show on screen here.
Yeah.
What if I took this block and then I just cycle through a few different situations? Juwan Johnson, could do Jaleel, whatever. Could do the same one with
everyone except for Sutton, pretty much.
But you could just scroll through it. This same lineup, 5 different versions, Broncos defense, and then make a change. Kick out, a kicker or defense, kind of like build off of that baseline a bunch of different lineups. That's kind of how, I guess, if you did Kamara lock button captain, that's what you'd get anyway.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah.
All right. Let's jump over to FanDuel reminder. $3 entry.
And then a guy like Estime, or Kroll, those guys come in if you want to try to play both quarterbacks or play Cortland Sutton on DraftKings. That's
there's lots of different ways, but I just thought that was interesting. Check this out, Bobbywow. $3, 800,000 in guaranteed prizes. This is, of course, Sunday, but 240,000 entrants. 240, 480, 720. They got 800,000 in the contest. They only collect in 720.
Yeah.
That's what they call free money. You know when we used to get these, Bobbywow? Back in the day, I've been around for a long time. Back in the 2014, 2013 era and 2015 era, before anybody had heard of FanDuel or DraftKings, in week 1, they'd put these giant super contests together and they wouldn't fill. They'd have just tons of unfilled tournaments, and you could just, at the last second, just throw your 150 in like 10 different contests that all had massive overlay.
Yeah.
But it would only happen ever on week 1 for 1 week, and then it would be like, oh, that was fun, but now it's gone. So don't forget to max those out. Okay, FanDuel. Take a quick look at the cheat sheet. What you put on here for FanDuel, I'm assuming, Kamara, quarterback, and then like hopes and prayers. You don't need
hopes and prayers, darts. Yeah. You don't need that out of the suit, but again, it's really Kamara. Like you could either put 10 on there or you could put Kamara.
I don't mind. Either quarterback can get it done.
Yeah.
Again, I'll give Bo Nix a higher shot because he is, quote unquote, an actual running quarterback, and Spencer Rattler is actually a guy that the announcers refer to as a mobile quarterback, but the visual doesn't necessarily agree. Yeah, so it seems pretty baseline. Bam, bam. Now, actually, I would probably say, do you think FanDuel is like kind of almost easier to build on this week?
I mean, you got I don't know that it's easier.
I got it. That's the nut.
That's nuts.
That's the nuts right there. I'm putting it in.
Denver
Kamara,
against-
quarterback, Lutz, Groupie, Broncos. The only other way to go is if you can get the rattlesnake in there, but I don't think that's as easy to pull off. 3,000 left. Can't do it. Is there a 5K player that's viable here, Bobby?
Kroll. Yeah.
Oh shit. Kroll is 5K?
Yeah.
Oh my god, look how buried he is. And by the way, what happened to A.T. Perry, as a matter of fact?
Click him.
Wait. I just thought of this. A.T. Perry was somebody. Hold on a second. From last year. Oh, he just hasn't done anything this year. Okay. What happened to A.T. Perry? Like at the end of last year, this was an up-and-coming rookie, had an 18-point game. He doesn't play anymore? I got to look him up because he's somebody that I feel like I took some shares of in best ball just because I remembered him having a big game at the end of last year. Now he disappeared. His Tebow time loaded up on AT. All right, I'm not tripping. That's a real thing, right? I got a lot of that dude in best ball.
Yeah, he's not listed on the depth chart anywhere.
You could do this lineup with Lucas Kroll. I wouldn't recommend it, but that can be done. I'm not convinced Rattle is better than that either of these quarterbacks are all that much better than a kicker. Yeah, this is probably how I would attack this slate and just Bob Means at the end. I think that's, I don't know, Bobbywow. What about you? Double get Denver defense in there. Good to go.
Yeah, I think the concern, just to push against this strategy and just play devil's advocate for a second. I think the concern with getting super, super excited about kickers is that in a game like this, you could easily have something like a 17-14 game where there's, each team scores 2 touchdowns, only 1 field goal is kicked. And then, that combination of super low price and higher price, like a Kroll and Sutton or a Kroll and the quarterback versus 2 kickers scores you more points. That combination does. So that's like, it was proven in a way last season where the higher scoring game is actually where kickers fared even better because there were so many different opportunities. Again, anything can happen.
A lot of different ways.
It's a showdown slate,
yeah,
right? So anything can happen. But just to kind of play devil's advocate, like to me, I don't know if you have the same feeling. There will be times when I submit 150 lineups and I build them, based on a certain way, and then the game starts, and like my whole perception just widens, and I'm like, oh my god, like it's almost like I forgot these were NFL players on NFL teams. As I was building, I was so committed to like this defense and field goal strategy. Yeah. I forgot like Bo Nix he's better. He's looking good. And these rookies are promising rookie pass catchers. So just, that's my cautionary tale here. Like I do think what you're outlining is the best strategy, the safest and most solid, but I fall into that trap in games like this where the game starts and I'm like, crap, I should have had way more exposure to these offensive players than I do.
What do you think about A.T. Perry revenge narrative? Apparently he's on the Broncos now.
I don't see him listed anywhere on the chart.
He's probably on their practice. So I'm just kidding around. I don't. There's just chat in the chat here. They're saying that the Saints dropped him and the Broncos picked him up, and now he's on the Broncos. Revenge narrative.
I mean, if he's active, you got to include him in the pool, right? Because they're throwing everybody over there.
We'll find out tomorrow. And by the way, I agree with you. I think much more so. The reason I'm leaning a little towards this being this defensive thing is much more the Broncos are an actual good defense. This is something that people miss a lot, like a bad team. I talk about it on the breakdowns. We talk about it on the breakdowns of the regular games where you're like, I don't want Aaron Rodgers against a very, very good defensive team. You've seen what the Jets do, what the Jets did against like Minnesota or even Denver. The great defenses shut down mediocre offenses, right? And these are mediocre at best offenses. So that's where those defenses can shine through. I'm less worried about a great offense against a great defense. The great offense can shine through. But a great defense against a bad offense, that's where it starts to be like, okay, now I can start to believe that, this team can really hold these guys down a little bit.
Yeah, and my defensive concerns are, think about the Jets. The Jets are a much better they're just way different at home with Sauce than they are on the road without Sauce. The Broncos are the same way. Solid overall. They've got some good playmakers, but they're on the road. Let's not forget that. They're, going to see the Saints, and they're without Surtain, their best, far and away, their leader and their best playmaker. So, and we just saw the Saints get absolutely mauled by the Bucs, who are a much better offense. Baker has been one of the best quarterbacks in the league this season. But again, it just goes to show it's not like a lock guarantee that these defenses produce.
I'm still annoyed at myself for not building many Baker lineups last week.
Yeah.
I literally wrote, I started out the week by writing this great write-up about Baker, how he's going full Baker beast mode right now and nothing can stop him. And then I just allowed the whole week's worth of analysis to talk me out of it.
Yeah.
Bummed.
What's weird too is Mike Evans has stunk.
He always stinks against the Saints. That's what was so great about that.
But overall, Mike Evans isn't having a great season by any means.
No, but he scored some touchdowns. He's done okay. They've just elevated the role of Godwin to being that guy right now.
Yeah. It's a fun team with no running game.
I don't really have too much more to add to this one, Bobbywow. Do we want to any further thoughts on this sort of on the FanDuel side of it?
Yeah, I think FanDuel, I'm even more committed to this idea that we might have a super scrub and a higher price player end up in the nuts, but especially to this Javonte Williams being not Javonte volume. So I guess find a stand like that where you can get a little comfortable, make some sort of stand, but also be really, really cautious about if you're building on the Dom station or if you're mass multi-entering, be cautious about who you're unchecking, because there are so many viable guys that could randomly show up in the optimal lineup this week, that more so than any other week before. So just be careful who you uncheck and be strategic about it.
The turds are everywhere. Basically, anybody could get it done. I like Bub Means. My favorite of the new names from this game is Bub Means.
Well, yeah, it'll be the Fields favorite too.
It will be. Okay, yeah. So I mean, it will be the Fields favorite, rightfully so. So that would be the guy that if I needed to lean on, which pass catcher that I hadn't heard of before this week, I want to lean on this week, it's going to be Bub Means, just because he got the targets last week and seems to have that connection with Rattler. So.
Yeah, Estime and Kroll for me if I'm going nuts and paying
Estime,
down.
You're really buying into the Estime thing.
He's $400. He's min price basically.
Yeah. I love me a min price player. Don't get me wrong. I love that stuff. So,
but yeah. I mean,
yeah. Let's wrap it up here, Bobbywow. Another Showdown breakdown in the books. Keep in mind, again, we'll be back on Friday. Tournament Tactics, Bobbywow, Shark Lab, Josiah, myself. We're going to look at the main slate, NFL Week 7. And of course, there's a 2-gamer on Monday coming up. Love me a prime time. I like a 2-game slate. I wish we emphasized Sunday night, Monday night as a slate, as opposed to showdowns even. I like a showdown, but give me a 2-gamer.
Yeah. They do Monday, Thursday even. That's even crazier.
Yeah. A little more value in fading some chalk when there's 2 games.
Yeah.
So I love a 2-gamer. So we have that coming up on Monday. Excited about that. Hit that like button, guys. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. And of course, don't forget, if you want to check out DFS Army right now, this week only, you can get the first month of VIP for $44.99. That's half off the usual price of VIP. Promo code VIP50. It's just celebrating the return of NBA. And quite a lot of it is just, we want you guys in here who are here already. If you're sub for NFL only, it's the same price. You can get all the sports. Check out what NASCAR is about, all the other stuff as well. So make sure to check that out. Bobby and I will see you on Friday for Tournament Tactics. Good luck tomorrow, everybody. We'll see you on the top of the leaderboards. All right.